Mr. City Manager, we are ready.
Mayor and members of the City Council, good evening. We are very privileged to have with us Tom Jacobs with the Environmental Department of Mid-America Regional Council to talk about the Climate Protection Playbook. With that very brief introduction, Tom Jacobs.
Hi, Tom.
Good evening. Thank you so much for letting me join you tonight. All right. So I'm going to spend about the next 10 to 15 minutes or so walking you through what's in a regional climate action plan. This is what I spent the pandemic working on, and it's an absolutely terrific piece of work, in my opinion. We involved, I don't know, north of 1,000 people in the development of this process. Since it was during the pandemic, most of it was online. We worked really closely together with a new nonprofit organization called Climate Action KC, a group of elected officials from throughout the community who are energized by this issue. And we ran it through an extensive community process and then through the MARC committee process. The MARC Board of Directors adopted this plan at their March meeting of this year, and they put us through our paces and to make sure that it was okay. And I guess the starting point on this is, as we worked through all of these groups of people, it became very clear that what this plan is not in any way a document that tries to tell anybody what to do. It's more really a plan that sets an ambitious goal and asks folks to embrace it following your local priorities and challenges and opportunities in ways that hopefully align with the goals in this plan. So it's intended to be a flexible document, and I hope that in my presentation it's conveyed that way. This is a piece of work. Oh, I went the wrong way. I'm sorry. And so as we put this together, there were a number of guiding thoughts that sort of that really guide what follows. And the first piece of this is so much of what we need to do, we want to do. And so when in the following slide here, is that we've already proven we can do this, right? And so as I was trying to catch up on all of the fantastic work that you guys have done here in Gladstone over the last many years, from all of the work here in downtown to work around complete streets, the Atkins-Johnson farm, the extensive energy efficiency and solar installations, work in trails and stormwater and native landscaping. All of the things that you've done are 100% aligned with what we're encouraging. And so we've already shown we can do this. We know we want to do it. And so really what my question for you at the end of this presentation, and I'll ask it now as well, is so now what? You've already demonstrated that what Gladstone is about is fully aligned with what we're trying to do, and so there are opportunities to connect the dots further and to do so in ways that align with both climate mitigation and adaptation goals. And so, you know, a couple of these more of these guiding ideas. The solutions must match the scale of the problem. So you guys have just killed it on work in the past, but how do we do more? And how do we go faster so that we can begin to make a difference at a system scale that we can begin to match the scale of the problem we're dealing with? We believe that leadership comes from all of us. So at MARC, I have some element of a leadership role at a professional level within my organization. Certainly all of you are decision makers within the city of Gladstone. We work with folks from all levels of the community and believe that whether it's at a household or a neighborhood, a municipal, a watershed, a county, a regional level, there's opportunities for leadership. And really what this plan is about is a call for collaboration wherever we can find it to do good work that we all share and believe in. And finally, do no harm. But in this case, doing nothing is harmful. And so we're trying to figure out, well, what can we do that makes sense around the region. So as we prepared this plan, we did two front-end pieces of analysis. The first was a regional greenhouse gas inventory. The headline here is about 2/3 of our emissions come from using energy in buildings, and about 1/3 comes from transportation. Of course, you can slice and dice these sorts of numbers in 100 different ways, and there's other pieces, whether it's supply chains and materials or water or agriculture or natural systems and so forth. But it's really about energy in buildings and transportation. And so the plan really is divided in half. The first half is about emissions reduction or greenhouse gas or climate mitigation. So this is another representation of our inventory. Today we emit somewhere in the order of 31 million metric tons of CO2 equivalents per year. If the growth continues on its current trajectory and nothing changes, which of course it already has and will, but that number would hit 37 million metric tons. And so we were trying to figure out, well, how do we shave that? And so the first two green bars after the red bar are both about building energy efficiency and renewable energy. And there's a lot we can do on transportation. Some of that might come from alternative transportation, trails, complete streets, walking, transit. And a larger share will come from electrifying the fleet. And there's a small piece that we can achieve as well through recycling and reuse and waste reduction. And then finally, everything that we couldn't zero out from those previous items, we put in a bucket that we called sequestration, which is putting carbon back in the ground through reforestation, prairie restoration, wetland restoration, regenerative or sustainable agricultural practices from cover cropping to conservation tillage and so forth. And so that's this is kind of a broad outline of what's in our plan on the mitigation side. On the adaptation side, we know that globally this is true, and in Kansas City it will be true, that the most vulnerable amongst us will probably endure impacts in a disproportionate manner. And so the map on the right is a regional scale representation of a socioeconomic vulnerability index. It's a modified index from the Centers for Disease Control. There's about 6 or 7 different census tract variables that we mashed together to make this map, but it probably looks familiar to all of us. And so we're asking questions about how can issues of food security, job access, health access, risk to flooding or air quality or energy burdens, how can those things be mitigated community-wide, but with a focus on the most vulnerable amongst us? And so on the left, we took a look at, well, what are the natural hazards that we think will be most severe confronting us moving forward? And there's 3 that we're focused on. One has to do with temperature, and the other 2 are precipitation. Extreme heat is something that we're projecting to see a lot more of. And then on the other side of the coin, we could see a lot more flooding or more drought at different times of the year. And so those are the issues we're focused on, and we're trying to figure out, well, how do we both mitigate the risk and then adapt to what a new future might look like. The plan has everything in this plan basically is something we've already demonstrated. So my initial slide of the good work here in Gladstone represents that. We have solar on the community. We have energy efficient buildings. We've got bus rapid transit. We have a lot of renewable energy. So all the things that are here are things that we've really all done before, and they're probably the main elements you'd see in any plan like this. And so we're laying these out for you and trying to think about, well, how can we do more of these and how can we knit them together in synthetic kinds of approaches? On the adaptation side, there's a number of different elements. I told you we're trying to respond to heat, drought, and flooding. And so food security emerged as a big thread in conversation. So I was pleased to learn that from the farm that you guys own that you donate very substantial amounts of leftover produce to after the harvest and others. The urban agricultural initiatives around the metro have really exploded in recent years. The Giving Grove is my favorite nonprofit. They planted 500 orchards at churches and schools and community centers in the last 5 years. There's a lot of opportunity to reduce food security and then in turn to link that kind of idea to issues of land stewardship or nature-based solutions. So we learned that maybe the single biggest thing we can do to reduce flood risks during peak flows is to restore our riparian or streamside corridors. And at the same time, we'll improve water quality, we'll create habitat, probably next to a place where we've got a trail that everybody likes to use on the weekend. And so we're getting like a 5-fer, right? There's a lot of benefits that come from this sort of thing. And thinking about nature-based solutions, it could be native landscaping or a rain garden or a bioswale, different sorts of things like that reduce risk and can be planned and designed in ways that really create substantial community amenities. On the finance and innovation side, the biggest move we've made since we launched this plan is we've just launched a regional building energy exchange, which is going to be a hub, if you will, to help folks figure out how to retrofit their buildings and make them more energy efficient. There's going to be a financial management, and technical assistance, and policy elements of this. We're trying to organize the ecosystem of architects and contractors and folks in workforce development programs and so forth to create new business and create jobs and to make our buildings more efficient and healthy all at the same time. I mentioned that there's an ethic throughout this plan of looking for sustainable solutions or multi-benefit solutions. When I talk about sustainability, it's always trying to solve more than one problem with every dollar that you spend. And compost, it sort of seems like a sideline item, but it's a great way to illustrate this point. For every maybe 10,000 tons of stuff we dump in a landfill, we'll create a job. That same amount of organic waste, maybe we'll create 6 jobs, 8 jobs. At the same time, when we put that back on the land, it turns it into a sponge, and we absorb water and reduce flood risks. And we can also increase the fertility of our soils to make our urban agricultural projects more productive. And at the same time, we're keeping organic waste out of the landfill and thereby reducing methane emissions. Methane turns out to be a much more potent greenhouse gas than CO2 is. So this is an example of a simple thing where we can apply compost to our stormwater best management practices or in our parks or in our gardens. It can make a big difference. We're getting all kinds of benefits as we engage in that kind of idea. And finally, this question of resilient infrastructure. This is a tricky thing. We don't really know what the future holds, right? We know there's a direction of change that we can anticipate, but we don't know how bad it's going to be or when it's going to happen or what we're really dealing with. And so we're really moving into a future where we're trying to manage risk. And as we design streets or sewers or bridges or any infrastructure, what does it mean for it to be resilient? And arguably, a complete street idea would be part of that idea. We're building with people in mind, where a complete street would probably be treed, which would reduce heat islands and help absorb rainwater at the same time while creating jobs in the process. But so trying to figure out how we would define resilient infrastructure still seems like a little bit of a moving target, but there are opportunities to consider how we are designing our infrastructure in ways that can mitigate the risks in front of us. Like the extreme heat piece, right? If we have less heat-absorbing, impervious surfaces, then it'll cool the city, right? Because we won't have these urban heat islands that exacerbate those sorts of situations. So, I'll just skip through this. The point here is we're trying to link these ideas together, right? If we have more efficient homes, that we're going to be improving public health at the same time. We might have opportunities to reduce issues of, improve issues of air quality and the like. At the same time, you can scale that up to a neighborhood level, and we're creating jobs, and we're creating walkable communities that are more efficient and so forth. And we begin to link these sorts of ideas together in ways that begin to add up to whole community scale benefits. There's a variety of policy recommendations in this plan. I'm not sure that I really want to go through all of these. They're tied to each of the different issues, but it's fair to say that there are opportunities in every local government at a policy level, at a comprehensive plan level, at an infrastructure design level, and in a management capacity, thinking about city operations to make a difference. And there's probably opportunities to comb through these kinds of ideas to think about, well, how does it align with what we're doing, what we want to do, and where we might go next. In terms of local government actions, I think I'd like to make an ask of you tonight, which is to consider embracing or endorsing this plan. And by doing so, like I started at the beginning, that doesn't mean I'm asking you to do anything in particular. Rather, in light of all of the existing and emerging community priorities and opportunities, can you apply a climate lens to that and kind of do more of what you're doing and think about, well, how do we connect the dots and how do we address these climate issues while we're dealing with all the other economic development and public health and other issues that are in front of us. There's a lot of opportunities here. I've got a list of bullet points, but I just ask that you consider the plan and think about what it means for Gladstone and how you might carry it forward. So I'll stop there, and I'd be thrilled to entertain any questions that you might have.
Dean. Okay. Tom, that was an excellent presentation.
Thank you, sir.
And I have to give pats to our leadership team here within the city for accomplishing what they have with new construction, because it's something that's very, very important. I saw on one of your slides about one of the first steps being action areas, and it was collaboration. Yeah. And collaborating with other communities and their leaders, and I think about Mark's First Suburbs Coalition, and getting together and sharing ideas about what other communities within that first suburbs are doing within their cities to react to and be proactive in regards to the climate. You did an excellent job with your presentation. Pat on the back.
Mayor, with your permission, for your next meeting, we'll prepare a resolution to support the concepts contained in the playbook. And I'd just like to thank Tom personally for being here. He's a thought leader on this topic, not only in the Kansas City region, but in the nation. We're very fortunate to have him here tonight. So thank you for your time, Tom. And, of course, express our appreciation to Mid-America Regional Council for being a thought leader on lots of issues. So we appreciate their partnership, as always.
Thank you. Thank you, Tom. And we'll go ahead, if that's it for the study session. We'll take an 8-minute break, and then we'll start at 7:30. Very nice.
Very nice.
Good evening. I'd like to welcome everyone to the Monday, September 13th, 2021, regular meeting of the Gladstone City Council. Call this meeting to order, and I'd like to ask our city clerk to please call the roll.
Councilmember Spallo?
Here.
Councilman Frisbee?
Here.
Councilmember Moore?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Garnis?
Here.
Mayor Mallum?
Here. We have a quorum. Thank you. At this time, I'd like to ask everybody to please stand. Join with me the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Fourth item on the agenda, is there anyone on the council who wishes to make a change to tonight's agenda?
No.
I have one. I'd like to receive a motion to add 14A to the agenda. That will be a special event request for a car extravaganza on Saturday, September 25th. May I receive that motion?
Mayor Mallums, I motion to add the special use permit to the agenda this evening.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Receive the motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Same sign. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from the August 23rd, 2021 closed City Council meeting.
Mayor Mallums,
Council Member Garnis.
I move to approve the August 23rd, 2021 closed City Council meeting minutes.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of approving the minutes of the August 23rd, 2021 closed City Council meeting minutes signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, same sign. The minutes are hereby approved. The next item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from the August 23rd, 2021 regular City Council meeting.
Mayor Mallums,
Yes. Councilmember Garnis.
I move to approve the August 23rd, 2021 regular City Council meeting minutes.
Second.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of approving the August 23rd, 2021 regular City Council meeting minutes signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. The minutes are hereby approved. The next item on the agenda is the swearing in of Gladstone Police Chief Fred Ferris. I thank the officers from the police department for being here. Sean, thank you for being here. We extend a thank you to our city manager, Wingerson, assistant city manager, Bob Bear, Art Davis from Baker Tilly, and the members of the staff and the community who served on the interview teams. This was a very detailed, extensive process, and then through consensus, we determined that Chief Fred Ferris was the best candidate, the right fit for the community of Gladstone, and we're honored that you will be joining our leadership team. And I thank the family members for being here to support him this evening, because welcome to Gladstone, because it's a place for a family. And at this time, I'd like to ask Becky, Chief, please come forward.
All the qualifications of police officer as prescribed by law, and I will support the Constitution of the United States and the state of Missouri, the provisions of all laws of this state, affecting cities of this class, and the ordinances of the city of Gladstone, Missouri, and will faithfully demean myself. serve my again.
Well, Fred, would you like to introduce the family that has joined you and say a few words, and then we'll let the council members share their comments.
I'm going to start with my brother Owen. I usually forget.
It's usually the wife you forget.
My brother Owen's sergeant at North Patrol. He joined the police department about the time I left the police department. He's a little extra. So he took my place there. I'm very proud of him. He's probably the best cop I've ever known and ever watched work. So, my uncle Phil, sitting around the end. My dad Joe, my mom Joanne, sister Teresa, beautiful wife Lee, my youngest daughter Helen, and my other daughter is stationed in the Colorado Station, back in the United States Air Force. But I'm sure she's going to be a video this probably later on. And my youngest brother Damien couldn't be here either. He's playing football on soccer. So, I want to thank the mayor and the council and Scott and Bob for giving me the opportunity to be here. Incredibly grateful to be working with these fine group of officers and elected men here. Looking forward to a lot of positive things in the future. I'm really happy to see all of you know some of them on their off time, so I do appreciate that. It's nice to see that here. I'm ready to get to work. I mean, Bob and I and Scott have been talking for a little bit, and I think I'm ready for the challenges ahead and get to come here and Gladstone too. Thank you all very much. And I'm going to sit down and have anything.
What I'd like to do now is ask the council members if they have a few words, and I'll start with Councilmember Moore.
Thank you, Mayor. Chief, it's an honor to welcome you and Lee to Gladstone. Any new position brings challenges, and this one is not an exception. We hope that you look upon these challenges as opportunities. And please know that you have the support of the council and an incredible leadership team with the city. We wish you well, and we're very excited to know you more and have the opportunity to work with you.
Councilmember Spalla.
Well, I mean, I don't know how you could say any better than you did, Gene, but we are just so happy to welcome you home to the Northland. And you did an incredible job during the interview process. It was a difficult interview process, and you were overwhelmingly the #1 choice. So congratulations, and look forward to getting to know your family better. Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Tina. Councilmember Frisbee.
Oh, I think I've said most of it already in private. I've known Chief Ferris for a while and his lovely wife, so welcome home and let's get to work.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Mayor. Chief Ferris, you'll come to learn I'm the quiet member of the City Council. Usually not one for speechifying, but I did want to say a couple of things that I didn't get a chance to say during your multi-interview tribunal to get here. First, with regard to the City of Gladstone. Like everybody up here, I'm proud of our city. I'm proud of the people here. I think you'll find Gladstone to be a welcoming and safe community where people respect and support our police. This is a place where a lot of good people live, raise families, and grow old together. It's a place where a lot of people come home to at the end of a hard day's work. This is also a community that's progressive, forward-looking, and creative. It's a community that's growing increasingly diverse, and I believe has done a good job of embracing that diversity. With regard to City Council, I'm also proud of the City Council's strong support for our police department. I think we've done a good job of supporting our officers in every way we can. I think we've done a good job with vehicle replacements, with officers' equipment needs, with those things we can do to help here, including new uniforms, new sidearms, new radios to replace our old new radios. I'm also proud of the fact that we were able to get our officers trained and equipped with tasers and body cameras for their protection, and that we did so years before a number of other police agencies in the metro area because it was the right thing to do. So you're taking over a police department that we're very proud of and that we have worked very hard to support. And finally, a comment about our officers. We're particularly proud of our police officers, who I believe have the hardest job of all of us, whose job has even gotten harder over the last couple of years. On City Council, we've gotten to hear countless stories of our officers showing bravery and heroism, as well as humanity and respect for the rights of other people. You're inheriting a department of men and women who we are proud of, who we support. You're inheriting a dedicated group of professionals in a fully accredited police department. Like every city in America, Gladstone has its challenges, and if the past 2 years are any indication, we don't even know what challenges lie ahead of us. But this is a good community with a lot of good people. I believe you have a tremendous and unique opportunity here as our new police chief. You have a positive and supportive city council, a community that respects its first responders, a new police headquarters that is funded, under design, and which was supported by over 80% of the voters. That is a rare opportunity in this day and age. So again, welcome, congratulations, and may God watch over and protect you and the men and women under your command.
Excellent. Good job, Bill. Thank you. Let's move on to the 9th item on the agenda here. It's communications from the audience. Members of the public are invited to speak about any topic not listed on tonight's agenda. When speaking, please step up to the podium, state your name and address for the record, and limit the comments, if you can, to 5 minutes. Okay. Next, we move on to communications from our city council, and I'll start with Councilmember Moore.
I have nothing this evening, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Spallo?
Nothing, Mayor.
Neither do I, Mayor.
Do I need to turn to the right?
Yes, you do.
Mayor Pro Tem. And I have no further comments this evening either. I go now to our communications from our city manager.
Mayor, thank you. I'd just like to thank our residents. There's a lot of work going on in the community that's an inconvenience at best and a burden at worst. There's street work, there's water mains, there's intermediate maintenance. There's just a lot going on. Downtown parking, about to build an outdoor pool after the season closes. There's just a lot going on. In fact, I think I commented to the leadership team earlier in the week that I don't remember a time when there's been this much activity in all parts of our city, sort of geographically equally. So I'd like to thank the residents and businesses and visitors to our community for putting up with us as we work to make the community better. I'd also like to thank Tim Nembergall, Public Works, and all of his staff, and other departments who work on these projects. Sean's heavily involved in the fire station. Chief Ferris and Bob will be heavily involved in the police station. Matthew Kosmantka, our building inspector, is inspecting downtown parking. So it really is collaborative for a city our size to pull off this much work in a given season. So we're nearing the finish line, so words of encouragement to all of those involved, and a special thank you to the residents and businesses. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's move on to the 12th item on the agenda. It's Resolution R-21-45. It is a resolution granting a utility easement to Cellco Partnership DBA, Verizon Wireless, for the extension of fiber optic cable and similar services to their antenna site, which is at the Linden Water Tower. A motion?
Mayor Mellons.
Councilmember Moore.
I move for the adoption of Resolution R-21-45.
Is there a
Second.
second? Thank you. It's been moved and seconded to adopt Resolution R-21-45. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of adopting Resolution R-21-45 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. The resolution is hereby adopted. The next item on the agenda is Resolution R-21-46, a resolution authorizing a change order in the amount of $135,656 to the professional services contract with Hofer Welker Architects for the architectural design services for the expansion and renovation of Fire Station Number 2.
Mayor Mellons.
Councilmember Spallo.
I move to accept Resolution R21-46.
Second.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded to adopt Resolution R-21-46. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of adopting Resolution R-21-46 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, same sign. The resolution is hereby adopted. Now we're going to move into a public hearing. It's a continuation from the August 23rd, 2021 meeting. That's the zoning and final development plan for the property at 2610 Northeast 60th Street. I'll open the public hearing. We're going to place it on hold until the September 27th, 2021 City Council meeting, and then it will be continued. Item number 14A is a special use permit scheduled for Linden Square on Saturday, September 25th, 2021. It's called a car extravaganza. It's going to be set up beginning at 7 a.m. and it will be taken down with a closure at 5 p.m. on the 25th. May I receive a motion to approve?
Mayor Mellons.
Councilmember Frisbee.
I move to approve the special use permit dated for September 25th, 2021.
Correct.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded to approve that special use permit. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. The special use permit then is approved. Other business for this evening. This meeting stands adjourned. Charlene, I have a check for you.